What do you want me to do? You tell me.
Joe, Pat, Tony.
Okay,
132.
we're going to move through these quickly. Joe Lowe down the line here this morning. Good morning, Joseph.
Morning, Bill. And I just wanted to comment because, I've worked in retail the majority of my life. Starting things off, when I used to work for Montgomery Ward's, that was, remember, part of Riverside Mall back in the day. I remember one incident where two people were shoving stuff in a baby carriage, and they covered it with a baby blanket, and then walked out of the mall. If you remember, KB was right there, and then the sneaker store, and that's where I got to tackle him and pin him down, and we recovered $1,200 worth of stolen merchandise. And the reason I bring up this story is two reasons. It was the very simple technique shoplifting. And I was able to tackle the guy and apprehend him.
And the baby. And the baby.
Well, he took out the baby. The baby was taken out.
That was Joe's original intent.
In the mother's arms, and she was screaming as she was running up the mall, but I did get the guy.
Okay, good.
Anyway, so that was Montgomery Ward's days. I worked for another retailer in the area years ago, Gander Mountain. I'm going to tell you how sophisticated things got. You talk about this woman who was maybe a senior citizen, and she was part of a bamboozled attempt here at Target. Or here's what used to happen: we had a senior citizen who was working in the fishing department. A senior citizen woman would come in periodically to talk to him about fishing and get him involved, and he was showing her different reels.
Joe, can I interrupt just for a second? I know where you're going, but be careful. You know this senior, and it could come back to haunt you. Be careful what you say.
I
Go ahead.
feel bad for her.
Yeah.
Believe
you
me,
don't know you know her, but you do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know I do feel bad, though, but the problem is the sophistication and the networking of these criminals.
No doubt about it.
To the point where it's out of control.
Listen, I said it last hour. I know why this is going on, because people go in and they buy something, they rip it open, they take it back, they seal it up, and in this case, put something the exact same weight to trick the store into taking it back, something that's worth 49 cents or $1, and this is how they're making their money. Now, I acknowledge that, and I understand that. But let me ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
You put your money in a bank. You have your money in the bank. Let's say you have $1,000 in the bank, and a bank robber comes into the bank, and he steals the money, and it just so happens all the money has been stolen. Are you good with saying, well, the bank's like, well, sorry, we've been getting robbed so much, we just aren't going to take care of our customers anymore?
No,
it is the same thing, because this woman was robbed.
No, here's the other factor.
Whoa. Let me explain why this analogy is exact. This woman spent money. She didn't get a product. The store is saying, well, we get a lot of this crap. We get this stuff, and you can't have your money back. She's lost her $37, period.
And no printing.
It's no different. It is no different. How is it different? Show me how.
No, I would say a better analogy.
No, I don't want a better one. Tell me why that one doesn't work.
Well, because the banks are, everybody's insured, so I mean, it's a kind of the same analogy.
You think that Target doesn't have insurance for thievery?
No, I'm sure they do.
I think if this was a larger scale incident where, like you say, the bank got robbed, so all the money's gone. If this had happened 6, 7, 8, 10 times, I think they would say, "Ma'am, we're sorry. There's a scam going on. We are aware of this problem. We will
You'd get your money back.
We'll replace it."
My point is, the bank would give you your money back. Even if it was a huge amount of money, they'd give you your money back. This is $37.
Or the product. Or another
product.
Cartridge.
She wasn't asking for her money back.
Right.
She wanted the product. So really what happened here is Target got screwed. Somebody, they apparently didn't do their due diligence, and some crook screwed them. And instead of them taking responsibility for the fact that their employees didn't catch the fact that they were being scammed, they got outsmarted by somebody who used weight. Instead of accepting responsibility, Target chose to pass it on to one of their loyal customers. Nowhere in the world, I don't care if they've been robbed 1,000 times on 1,000 days or 1,000 times in 2 weeks, you cannot justify the way they treated this woman. Period.
No, absolutely not.
That's it. But Joe, I get where you're going. I know. It's awful.
I just wanted to tell you how elaborate things have gotten. I'm not defending Target in any way for what they did.
Joe,
ultimately, the customer should get their money back or a different product.
Joe, look at this. They unsealed it, put it back together. It looked like it was factory sealed, opened it up on the inside, and put in an item worth $1.14.
Yeah.
the same weight as the cartridge. That's pretty clever and pretty smart.
The same scam was going on when I was in college. You would go to the bus terminal, and they would sell you a camcorder. The guy would say, I just need the extra money. I just bought this. And you would get on the bus thinking you got a camcorder for $50 and you got a brick.
I know. All right, Joe.
Remember?
Either way, I understand. Let's take care of the problem of thievery.
Think that they should have taken care of the customer.
We can take care of the thievery down the road. Let's first take care of this.
Hands off.
This woman. I'm good with that. An eye for an eye. All right,
right.
Joe, I'm with you. Thank you. All right, Joe. I want to go to Tony Pacini first because I know he's got another interview coming up, and I don't want to mess with him because who knows, anything could happen. County Executive Tony Pacini, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're just stuck in this Target thing, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, I just kind of catching the end of it.
Well, a woman went in, she bought a cartridge, an ink cartridge, and she gets home, and she's a senior citizen. She got home, she opened it up. The seal, the vacuum seal, that package on the inside had been opened up, and the cartridge was gone, and some cheap little item was put in there the same weight. She took it back to Target and said, I opened this up, and the product wasn't there. And Target basically said, there's nothing we can do. You're out your $37.
You got to talk to Hewlett-Packard.
Go to Hewlett-Packard. And Hewlett-Packard, by the way, has given her the runaround. So it's, and this is, and I know we talk about crime all the time and what Joe was just saying. It is a product of how many times can a store justify being stolen from? I mean, how many times can they be robbed before all of a sudden they start passing it on to the customer? I mean, it's a shame.
You know what's interesting, though, and we've heard stories about this over the past several years, is that a lot of, I don't know that Target does specifically, I've actually heard this about Walmart, is that they'll tell employees, you do not, like with Joe, the story Joe told, you do not chase down, you do not confront somebody who has stolen
right, you don't chase them. But if someone's returning an item.
Right, no, this is different.
Don't you take their driver's license? Don't you make them fill out paperwork when they give it back, and then you match the item with so that you check it? I mean, that should be done.
That was always an old scam. You bought an item, you brought it, you left, you went back a day later, you put something else in the box, you put it back, you brought it back and said, this doesn't work.
But to blame the innocent senior citizen for that is just, and $37, Tony, is...
Yeah, no, it's a shame. It's really
terrible.
And I'm surprised a company like Target, I mean, is that really going to hurt them?
Let me tell you a little story here, by the way. I'm going to tell you a story, Tony Pacini. This one time I bought a box of sparklers, and there was nothing in it. Nothing.
There you go.
Little sticks.
There you go.
They put sticks in there.
There you go.
Yeah, I tried to light it, nothing happened.
I was waiting for the sparklers.
Let's come around full circle here. You're considering at this point vetoing. Are you sure you're going to do it? What's the thought?
Well, I've been consistent on this all along, Bill. I was consistent last year when this came about. I mean, there's so many different issues I have with this legislation. I mean, the first part of it being the way it's checkerboarded by the state, that the counties have the option of getting in and out. So again, the state passes the buck and says, well, you guys decide, because we're going to let everybody do this, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And then you got this checkerboarding that takes place, and that means county to county, and everybody looks at it in a different way. But I've always looked at it one way, and I've stood with and listened to the professionals, the law enforcement, the firefighters, and this has been an issue that has been long festering around Albany and around the states in terms of fireworks and what should be legalized and what should be able to be handled. And everybody talks about sparklers. It's not just sparklers. It's a sparkler law. That's how they characterize it. But it's other little ground fountains and other things that are dangerous for kids and for adults. And I just stand, as I said, with the law enforcement and the firefighter professionals, but also I have an obligation too to look at this from our point of view and my point of view in terms of this. Now, I was consistent last year. This kind of came as a surprise to me just a few days ago. I had no idea the board was doing this until 3 or 4 days before the board meeting. Nobody came and talked to me about it again. They tell me they have data. I haven't seen anything.
I would like to.
I said that day I was going to veto it. Now I have to go through the process. There will be a public hearing, and then and I'll listen, and I will take the time to make my determination. But I'm pretty well set. I'm not going to hedge and tell and why. And
I do want to. I mean, they can buy them in Madison County and they can buy them in Herkimer County now. Yep. Here, I'm not with you on this. I say just pass, let it go. But you're going to do what you feel is right, and it's not just you. I saw your press conference, and Chief Brooks was there, who I respect greatly, and the sheriff, who I respect greatly. And at the end of the day, though, I think that it's somewhere along the line, people have to have some personal responsibility, and they need to be able to make sure that they are overseeing this stuff with their kids. You just let the kids run around with, although I guess that's kind of what we do with sparklers, but I don't know how much revenue you're talking, but it certainly will help Herkimer County and Madison County.
That's what
I get accused of that all the time. I mean, whenever I talk about revenue, whether it's sales tax or gaming or other things, there goes Pacenti again, looking for more money. Now, I mean, this is not a reason, in my opinion, to look for money. And what are we talking about in this thing? I mean,
well,
4 weeks a year.
Yeah.
Is it worth the aggravation, and is it worth the danger that goes along with it? I don't think it is, and it's a terrible reason to pass a law.
The reality is, and I understand what you're saying on that, and for instance, with drugs, I'm not saying legalize drugs because people do drugs anyway, but I mean the reality is
some drugs that I think should be legalized.
The reality is people who are using sparklers, they're still going to go ahead and use them.
Absolutely, and I know that, and this really does come down to if they give us a choice, and as well as I stand with the professionals. I have 51 fire departments in this county. I have the 17 law enforcement agencies that this becomes really hard to enforce. And on top of which, is there a better way to do this? I'm sure there is. But I just, the arguments that have been given to me that, everybody's going to do it every way.
Yeah.
That goes along with a lot of different vices that you just talked about, but that's not a reason to put them in place. The other thing is the revenue. I'm not going to get caught in that. I mean, that's minimal, I think.
I don't think it's that much. At the end of the day, I don't know how much revenue.
Well, I mean, they talk about $1 million in sales, and I mean,
really
in sales, which I find hard to believe in a 4 or a 5 week period, because you can only buy them if
it's limited the time that you can buy them.
June to 4th of July or the 5th.
Which stinks, because New Year's Eve would be a perfect sparkler time, I think.
Well, they do that. That week's allowed as well.
That is
you
okay.
Got 5 weeks. You got 5 weeks out of the year.
Here's I've taken up all the time on the Target issue, and I apologize for that. But I just want to make it quick and clear one thing up.
Sure.
Procedure. Let's just talk about procedure. You will veto.
Well, the law came to me immediately after the meeting. I have to call a public hearing by law, which we will call, and it will be set for May 31st. And at that time, I will listen, to anybody that comes in, the public, that, and then the clock started actually yesterday. I have 30 days from that time to send in my veto.
So that's your veto.
My time and do that.
And then to override, what would the legislature need?
They would need 2/3.
2/3, which can you give me a number?
They have.
They already have right now, I think.
16 votes. It was 18 to 5 the other day.
Okay,
They
all right.
have, yeah.
Well, all right. So we follow procedure, and this is how it works. And you're saying that while you're certainly leaning towards a veto, you will go into the public hearing with an open mind.
Well, I'll listen. I always do. I've listened to other things, and I've listened to reasons. But if they're all the same reasons I'm hearing today, that's not going to change my mind here.
Got it.
And like I said, I've been consistent, and I remain. Very rarely do you see me flip on an issue, and especially.
And I will tell you that my observation of you has been that despite going into the hornet's nest, you stand up for what you believe, and what you believe is best for the community. Even if it's gonna, even you get stung a couple of times.
Yeah, well,
I'll admit,
and I get to be, again, and this is another point where, the board or whatever has put me in the position to be in, look, I'm not looking to be an ogre. I'm not looking to spoil people's 4th of July and all that. I'm just looking to make sure that this is a safe community.
I just feel so bad for the kids who just be waving sticks around in the air. I mean, it's nothing.
And that's why I say, too, they're still going to do it.
Yeah.
It's,
All right.
Sure,
all right, County Executive Tony Pacenti, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Always good talking to you guys.
Okay, so now we know the procedure, the way this works.
And they do have enough to
they have
override.
enough, so chances are by July 4th, this thing is going to be legalized. Phil and Pat have been waiting. Lines have been loaded up, 7360186. I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about coming up, but I have to break quickly, and we'll be right back at WIBX.